have in front of me here an absolute monster of a laptop. This is the brand new for 2023 Lenovo Legion 7i Pro Gen 8. I decided that I wasn't a big fan of money, so I ended up buying the highest spec model you can get right now. This is the 4090 version. I've seen a lot of reviews of this laptop on the internet. However, I haven't seen one with the 4090 specific model, so I decided to pick it up and share it with you guys. The laptop is offered with a 4080, and you probably can see a lot of reviews on the 4080 model. However, this is the 4090 highest spec you can get in terms of the GPU. It also comes with Intel 13th Gen 13900HX in this model here specifically, 32 gigabytes of RAM. You can spec these, you can add a little bit less RAM. It is a little expensive, but I did get a good price on it. I got it actually directly from Lenovo, their website, and I did get a good price on it. So I thought it was worth it, buy it, and do a review on the 4090 model, which I expect to be quite powerful. I am going to make a second video where I compare it to last year's 2022 Legion 7 because there are some changes that you can see visually with this laptop. They have made a few compromises on the nice to haves to really keep the cost down to a competitive level. All of the 4000 series NVIDIA laptops this year are pretty expensive. So I can see where they cut a few little corners here and there, nothing that's major, specifically so that they can keep the price down. So you're able to get a really premium laptop with a lot of power, a lot of the bells and whistles, but you're not going to pay an absolute fortune, at least not more than the competition. I do have a few more videos of this specific laptop coming along, so do consider subscribing if you like the video. It does help the channel out quite a bit. Okay, and here's the box here. We'll just do a quick unboxing, nothing too elaborate. It's not as nice as the Legion 7 AMD from last year. That had an actual nice little box with it, but that's fine. This is an option. You don't have to get this with it. If you just buy it default, I don't think you get these with it. Same as the Legion 7 last year, 2022, you get these ceramic keys. See here, ceramic keys. So you can do your WASD or whatever you want to do, but that's what most people do. Cotton material, which is nice. And there we go. Okay, I have my 2022 Legion here. I'm going to do a full dedicated video comparing the two of these because these are kind of two of the most powerful laptops you could get last year and this year. Just like every year Legion, they're basically very, I'd say like reserved in terms of the gamer vibe. They have a professional feeling. So you could show up to like a business meeting or something with this laptop and people aren't going to look at you like you have this big gaming machine. I mean, it is a gaming machine, but obviously, but it has a nice kind of stealth look to it. So look at it there. It's quite heavy, very heavy, obviously. But it's not going to be as big as some laptops. It's got a lot of metal in it. Compare that to last year's. This is heavier actually. This year's is a little bit heavier. Half a centimeter, not quite half a centimeter. I'd say 3 or 4 millimeters, maybe taller on the new Legion. So it's not hugely bigger, but it is a little bit bigger. So and that tapers back to the back where they're about the same. The design is slightly different there. You can see on the back. Last year's here you have that kind of cutout. This year here it's flat, but you still do maintain those labeled ports. You can notice there on the Legion 7 from last year, it's actually really hard to see based on the color, really hard to make out those symbols. It's actually easier this year because it's a darker. So in terms of the design, obviously Legions are very premium, metal, so it's very premium. There is some plastic this year. So they have these plastic, I don't know what you call this, like this ring that goes around it. I don't like this. It's stealthy enough, I guess, but I don't like it. I like last year's just bare metal. Right? Like they didn't have to add an accent to it. It's just like a raw cut metal. So you only get one Thunderbolt this year. That's on this side here. You can see the Thunderbolt symbol. So the left side here, you get your Thunderbolt, and then you get a USB-A, headphone jack, headphone microphone combo jack, pretty standard. Your kill switch for your camera. It's digital, so it's not a physical switch on the top, but I think it does kill it somehow in software. I don't know. Actually, very limited ports on the right side. Last year had a USB-C on the right side. This one has USB-A compromiser. So there's not a lot of USB-C on this year, whereas last year there's a lot more. Another USB-C on the back here. So those are your two USB-Cs. This one does have power. So you can see there, it's upside down, but USB and power delivery. So you can do display out from that. You can power your laptop. This, I think, accepts 140 watts. So you can charge with a nice, powerful charger. Lenovo actually has, I think, 140 watt USB-C chargers now. RJ45 Ethernet, HDMI there. That should be HDMI 2.1. 2 more USB-A, so you can see them there. This is the one here that basically is going to be on all the time. So if you want to charge a device overnight or something, you can just plug it in there. That's what that battery means. You can charge it all night. And then your power in. Last year it was kind of like a light gray to match the chassis. And exactly the same color, more or less. And it's kind of like a soft, smooth texture to it. And it's not that they're worn down. This laptop is like 2 months old. This one here is it's like a darker plastic. I don't know if the keys feel worse or better, like the actual keycaps. It's a darker kind of plasticky material. Yeah, it doesn't feel quite as smooth when you're rubbing your fingers. There's a little more grip to it. This is smoother. See, last year they had that, I don't know what you call it, metal grill. It doesn't do anything. It just is an aesthetic piece. Here it's just flush. And the button there. Last year it had the ring, so you get the ring power. This year it's just a little angry eye, same with Legion 5 Pro. So these are the little compromises that I'm talking about from last year to this year. You know, they take out some of these nice to haves, but they don't really matter, I guess, from last year. Last year is just, you know, a really premium, super premium laptop. This is still super premium, but, you know, some of those little tweaks are been taken out, like, you know, the button and that. I suspect they do that to keep the cost down. Like I said, Lenovo is trying to put these out in a competitive price, and it is fairly competitive, but, you know, the brand new RTX inside these laptops are very expensive. These are brand new chips that just came out. NVIDIA, I'm assuming, is pricing them very high. So if they, you know, put all the bells and whistles in these, you'd certainly start to get up in price, you know, to go from an extra $300, $400, $500, and then it becomes much less compelling to buy. You can see here the speakers are different too. I don't know if they're different on the inside, but last year it was a down firing speaker, directly down. This year it's an angled one. So as long as the speakers are equivalent, they're just as good. This may actually sound better. This is good because it's going to bounce off the desk and, you know, come back up. This one here, you'll probably be a little bit less muffled and less likely to if you're sitting on your lap. They actually managed to get more power in a smaller charger. That's due to gallium nitrate, GaN. So it's just a smaller charger overall. Still big, but it's getting more power for a smaller size. So that's really nice to see. That's a good advancement in technology. It's a Lenovo Legion keyboard, so it's going to be nice. But it does feel a little different than last year. So we'll see how it feels when I'm typing on it. Yeah, so it's quieter than last year. Last year was a little bit more tinny and chiclety. It could be just the chassis is bigger, or the actual keycap material is more, I don't know, less plasticky, more textured, I guess. Feels a little different, but it's amazing. I mean, Legion keyboards are as good as they get on gaming laptops, period. There is no competitor. You want the best keyboard on a laptop, you get a Lenovo. You want the best keyboard on a gaming laptop, you get a Legion. There's not too much separation between the numpad and the keys here. I very occasionally hit backspace and hit numpad. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Numlock, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you basically just enable or disable numlock. It doesn't matter. But I do it sometimes. Overall, though, the keyboard is an excellent typing experience. You'll notice here that there's a button that says function lock. I don't know if you can see it, but you can do this in Vantage. But if I press, you know, these buttons here, these are operating as function keys, right? So you can see it's doing whatever that did. So if you hit function lock, you'll see that light come on. You can do this in Vantage as well, or in the Lenovo Legion toolkit, and now they're inverted. So now they work as the intended alternative buttons, volume up, volume down. I find most people are going to be using that way more, right? Apparently. The keyboard has the RGB thing going on. Let's see how it compares to last year. Again, I'm going to do a full comparison, but brightness up, brightness down. You can turn it off. You can turn it up. In theory, these should be pre-programs. Yep, so it has the same feature as last year on the 7. I don't think the 5 has this, but, you know, it comes with different. That's just the bottom there. Bring that down a bit. These are just pre-programmed. That's wonky. I guess 5 is off. 5 is off, I guess, in this case. I don't know. Here's a look at the built-in webcam and also the microphone, of course. And get some different lighting here. You can see there, bit of a challenging scene with the light behind, and it's separating pretty good actually, and yeah, it looks pretty good. We'll see how the sound is. This is a significantly darker area here, just sitting on a couch in a very dark room. It's actually doing a pretty good job. It's really dark in this room right now. Obviously, like, the frame rate looks reduced in that too. It's trying to expose better, but yeah, it looks pretty good. Last year's, this year's, I'll just do the comparison so you can see the difference. This is just like an OLED test. I like to do it because it's got a lot of blacks. This is an IPS screen, so it's not going to have amazing blacks, but we'll do a comparison here. But they're basically identical. Colors are identical. No difference there. The Legion 7 has a really nice screen. 500 nits, brightness, great colors, NTSC, RGB coverage, and calibrated too. It's not just that they cover the colors, it's that they have really good accuracy. Okay, now I'll do an audio test. I'd like this video here because it's got a lot of bass, so we'll just get this going. So nice bass. I'm gonna turn it up. It's really loud. Turn it down a bit because it's just kind of loud. Really, really nice speakers. Really nice speakers. Same as last year. I don't know if they're exactly the same, but superb. The Legion 7, one of the reasons I love it is it just has great, great audio. Now we'll just do a spoken test to just kind of see how clear the audio is when speaking. I'm not going to call somebody and do a thing conference, so I'm going to do a video here. This is my younger brother, his channel.
Because it's time for Unsolicited Canada Facts Volume 2. Hi again. There's a common misconception that the national sport of Canada is not hockey, but in fact lacrosse. I'm sure that if you live in Canada, at some point, the most annoying person that you know has told you that after reading it on a listicle during their lunch break. In reality, Canada has two national sports. Hockey is the winter sport, lacrosse is the summer sport. So there you go. Stop saying that hockey isn't the national sport of Canada. You're being a dickhead about a technicality.
Okay, so to get inside the laptop, I just took out the screws, nothing complicated. I usually find these can be a little challenging to get off. I don't know if that plastic is attached to the base or to the bottom or to the upper chassis. We'll have to see here. Should be able to just pop this up now. This is much tighter than last year to get into. That did not feel nice to get into compared to last year. This cheap plastic stuff here, I don't like this. I don't know why they put this on. Make it metal or just don't put it on. I mean, we don't need this little accent here. It's just gonna break at some point if you open up your laptop a lot, but there we go. Here's a look inside. So here's our first look inside the laptop. You can see here very large speakers. Big battery on this here. You can see this is 98 watt hours, so basically as large as you can get legally, so you're not gonna get any larger than that. You have a vapor chamber here, so you're not gonna wanna take this off. I mean, if there's something wrong with your cooling, you'll wanna send this in for professional repair, unless you are a professional yourself. It has liquid metal applied to the actual chips and the vapor chamber. So you're not going to want to disassemble this, to be honest, and take the cooling off. In terms of upgradability, you have 2 SODIMM slots here, so you can upgrade your RAM. This one came with 32 anyways, but you could put in 64, or I guess you could get it with like 16 or something and just add in your own. We'll see what speed that is. The first NVMe, that'll have the OS on it. We do have an empty NVMe slot over here, so you can expand your storage with an extra NVMe, and then you do have your Wi-Fi chip there. So it looks like it has an SK Hynix drive in there. You can replace that, obviously. This one just comes with 512. You can spec it out on the Lenovo website with whichever, up to I think 2 terabytes. We have our Wi-Fi chip here. It's an Intel Wi-Fi, obviously. AX211NGW. And these are 5600 megahertz RAM. And then you do have your second, slot over here, which you can put another drive in. Video editing. I just want to show how snappy this machine is. I'll show some encoding later, but you throw your video in. Watch how fast this audio processes. It's already done. So normally, if you use my other laptop that I was using, even the AMD Legion, it was not remotely that fast. This is already ready. And these are big clips. Done. Okay, so let's do some exporting. Here's my face. We'll go with 1080p 60, which is pretty demanding, 40 megabytes a second. And then we can enable fast rendering and video. Oh wow, that's extremely fast. 1 minute to do almost a 7-minute video. This would take, I don't know, 5 or 6 on my other laptop. Yeah, probably about 6 minutes on my other laptop. This is with battery saver on now. Again, it's not super dim or anything. It's at the middle basically. And yeah, 2 hours and 26 minutes on, I can turn the screen down. It's on the middle right now. So out of 80%. So I mean, on battery saver, you can probably get it to about 3 hours. I mean, you could just keep turning settings down and down and down and get more and more battery. But I think, mixed use, balanced mode, you're at about 2.5 hours probably. And then if you throw on battery saver, you'll get about 3 or so, which isn't bad, to be honest, for what it is. It's not by any means it's not by any means going to be a long laptop. That's not why you're buying this, but you know, 2.5 to 3 hours is pretty good. Okay, now we're in The Witcher 3, and this is the whatever next gen version, or whatever they call it. Okay, so Ultra here. I'm expecting this to run extremely well on this. NVIDIA seems to run this game very well. Oh my god, it also looks very, very crisp. So you can see that the frame rate is extremely high on average. I am going to do frame rate limiting because I find on a lot of these systems, you know, they're so powerful that they get the max frames and then you end up getting overheating. So then your lows drop down. But we can see with the averages it's extremely high, obviously. So now we're on ray tracing, not ray tracing, also just normal ray tracing. And we have DLSS on balanced. So again, very high frame rate, but the lows are a bit low. And I suspect that because you can see there, you know, the CPU is getting pretty warm and the GPU is also, you know, going pretty full bore. Okay, we'll test one more game here in this video. In future videos, I'm going to do a full gaming spread on this laptop. I'll hook it up to an external display just so you get cleaner video. You know, I'll do 1440p monitor and 4K monitor, but for now, we'll just see how this looks here. So we'll do 1600p here. Let's try Ultra and just see how it performs. It's pretty ambitious, but we'll see. Yeah, extremely well, to be honest. Lots of VRAM there, so we're getting 10 gigabytes of VRAM. We have 6 to work with on top of that, so lots of headroom there. So I suspect the 40A would run this pretty good too. But yeah, it's pretty rock solid performance, to be honest. CPU is going up pretty high there. This game, for some reason, uses a ton of CPU. Sound acoustics is not too bad on a laptop whatsoever. And it's able to keep those temperatures down reasonably well. I mean, this is a 4090 and a 13900 HX, so it's a lot to cool, but the Legion seems to be up to the task, so yeah, really good. So I've been using this Legion laptop for several days now. I've done quite a bit of tests with it. I actually have several videos coming out for it. So I have this video right now that we're going to be viewing. I also have a head-to-head with my Legion from 2022, the Legion 7 from 2022. I've also recorded a ton of game footage specifically on this laptop as well, which will be a third video where I just throw a ton of very difficult games at it and see how it performs. So I have a pretty good take on how the laptop is because I've been using it for several days. I've done video editing on it. I've done some like assignment editing with the keyboard and that too. So my overall takeaway on this laptop is it is very expensive. This is a very expensive laptop. I got a very good price on it, to be honest. Lenovo does have a lot of good sales on their websites quite frequently. So, you know, don't necessarily buy this at full price. You will find it on sale. And then it makes it a lot more compelling. If you're looking for a powerful laptop, I mean, it's going to be hard to beat this. 13900HX, 4090 GPU, RAM, the memory runs at 5600 megahertz. So, I mean, it's a very, very powerful laptop. So if you want the best in terms of power, I mean, it's hard to beat. The Legion laptops are extremely powerful. And they also have a lot of other benefits to the Legion laptop too. You know, amazing keyboard, beautiful screen, overall quite nice design, language. You know, it looks more professional than, you know, your typical gaming laptop full of RGB. You know, you can turn on the RGB if you want it, but it's not just full of all those things. You can use it either way. It can be a professional laptop. You could take this with you to like even meetings and things like that. And it looks pretty professional. You know, it's a dark metal, no flashiness to it. It's nice and subdued in terms of that, but it has a very kind of industrial, clean design to it. So it has a professional vibe to it, but it's also an incredibly powerful gaming laptop, incredibly powerful for content creators too. So for me, I mean, I video edit on this thing and it absolutely rips when it comes to video editing and that too. So it's not just for gamers. I mean, obviously for gamers, it's going to be an amazing laptop, but even content creators, you know, that beautiful screen, very, very powerful CPU, very, very powerful GPU. It's definitely quite compelling. So you don't necessarily have to jump on the most powerful laptop here. You know, the last year's models are still very compelling in terms of power. There is going to be a big jump in CPU performance. There is going to be a noticeable jump in GPU. You know, it's not game changing. These are still very powerful laptops, but there is you know, a lot more power, obviously a 4090 or a 4080 base laptop that just came out than last year's model. You know, if you want your laptop to be either the most powerful around or, you know, you want to last for a good several years, the 4090 here is, I mean, you're going to pay for it, but it's going to be very, very powerful.